Okay guys, welcome back. Now, unfortunately, this information is not exciting. There is nothing super thrilling about anything that we're going to talk about right now. I apologize. It's honestly probably one of the most boring CR Live sessions.
Well, hold on. I think we can reframe this. And here's the reason why. Is because one of the great things at CIR is that we allow you guys to showcase your excellence. We're not going to...
You're so much better at this than I am.
and there's certain opportunities, and you got to look at both sides. Anytime a door closes, another one opens here. And if you have to change your branding, and if you have to change your marketing materials, you have an opportunity to stop and think and assess and say, okay, if I had to do this all over again, what am I going to do to change? And I'm serious. Like this is.
You're right. That's better.
It's true. It's absolutely a prime time in order to do this. I just want to dispel one quick myth, and even a myth that even our management team had and was propagating for a little while, and we apologize for that. But
I was part of the inaccurate propagation.
Some people were saying that October 1st was the deadline, and then you had 6 months till March 1st in order to have your stuff cleaned up. And that was a 6-month grace period. That is actually false. On October 1st, you're doomed. It is the end. You have to have everything done. The 6-month period, you have the opportunity, if you were promoting yourself under a certain name for teams, then what you were able to do is say, this is now the Lindsay Smith real estate team, formerly known as Lindsay Smith and Associates. That was something that you could do for the 6 months. I could mark it as formerly known, because if there was obviously going to be a substantial name change, then it's important to have that grace period for consistency for your clients and your branding. However, just associates and even teams, you must have the change in place. So you do not have the time that some people thought you had in order to change this. So
including
pay
me.
attention.
I thought you had the time. I apologize for anybody. I don't think I said that to too many people, but I think a few of us said that to a couple of people.
And we want to catch us early enough where now it's time to sit back. You guys don't have to change this tomorrow, but the week after you do, type thing. So don't sit on this very long.
Yeah.
But just kind of assess and say, hey, what do I need to clean up in my business here? And what do I need to get going?
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely. Okay, so I want to start off by saying that on the virtual office, in the What You Need to Know section, there is now a link at the very, very top that takes you to the RECA advertising PDF. That's what we're going to be going over today. I'm going to be doing a screen share, and Lindsay's so positive. He's definitely the better of both of us when it comes to that. So
it's true.
Think of everything he just said while I talk about this. I'm not like, especially on a Monday, like that's so impressive of you to be so happy and gung-ho about branding. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to be going through this document. Lindsay, pipe in whenever you want. And a few of I don't want to say some of this is open to interpretation. Steve is probably online, and I'm sure I'm going to have like angry text messages because it's tough. Some of it is really tough. So a little bit is open to interpretation. I would say the vast majority of it isn't. I'm going to let you know my understanding. If Steve is online and he's correcting whatever I'm saying, whatever Steve is saying is correct. So
go off of Steve.
Yeah, go off
Broker
go off
Steve.
Broker Steve. So hopefully I'm going to do Broker Steve relatively proud here. Fingers crossed. Okay.
It's like I just have my phone open to like check.
You should actually. Yeah. Steve, yell at Lindsay via text message if I'm screwing up. Let's do that. Okay, so let's open this up. What we're looking right now is the RECA advertising standards, and I want to start talking about this. So this is a for sale sign. Now, I want to mention right off the bat that if you are thinking of doing custom for sale signage, it is in your best interest every day of the week to get our graphics team to do it. We charge $45 an hour, which is dirt cheap for graphic service. We're going to get this done in a couple of hours, and 100% for sure it's going to be brokerage compliant, it's going to be RECA compliant. The amount of times you guys are getting outside graphics people to do this, and you're spending time and money on things that get sent to us and are incorrect, don't do it. We have a great team. We can help you. So here's an example. On this side, we have does not meet requirements, and we have meets requirements. So you'll notice here under does not meet requirement, it says the brokerage name is smaller than the primary identifier. The primary identifier on this for sale sign is the name Catherine James. That is the primary identifier. this logo, which is the corporate logo of the brokerage, Genuine Realty Group, is smaller than Catherine James, which is the primary identifier. Therefore, this is not allowed. Moving to this one, this does meet requirements because Genuine Realty Group is the same size or greater than Catherine James. So one thing to note that RECA has recently said is they used to use words that the individual, that the brokerage name had to be similar size to the primary identifier. They've changed that wording because similar size is more open to interpretation than the same size. So now the rule is the brokerage name has to be the same size or greater than the primary identifier. So yes, that actually means that CIR's logo needs to be the same size as the primary identifier on any marketing that you are doing. Okay, let's move this down. So here is another example. So on the left, we're looking at a business card, and on the right, another one. So the one on the left is not accepted. The brokerage name is smaller than the primary identifier. So even on business cards, you guys, this is the brokerage logo. Primary identifier is the name, Catherine James. This is not approved. On this one, you'll see how much bigger the brokerage logo had to be made in order to work with this. So on this one, the brokerage logo is a little, like, it probably doesn't need to be quite so big, but it was made big enough that it took up the same amount of space as this. The other thing that is important is that the new rule says that the brokerage name has to be adjacent to the primary identifier. So if the primary identifier is the realtor's name, which is Catherine James, the brokerage logo has to be in a very similar location to where the primary identifier is. So let's say
we're talking top, bottom, or side by side.
Yeah.
Like very close.
Very
it can't be
close.
one side. It can't be kitty corner. You know, it's got to be top, bottom, side to side. Think of it like that.
Yeah, totally. Which, I mean, to me on a business card, like if her name was here and the brokerage logo was here, as far as you legitimately getting fined for something on a piece of paper that is the size of your palm, I mean, like both things are probably within an inch of each other. Like this is why I just want to be like, let's not be like if you have business cards where my opinion, if you have business cards where the brokerage logo is the same size or bigger than the primary identifier, but the brokerage logo is on one corner of the card and the other, like I wouldn't feel like you need to like dramatically go and make sure those are changed for September.
Yeah, and we're not, and ultimately, RECA is going to be the one that makes the decisions, but based off of past experiences, they're going to be focusing on the huge errors, the people that are clearly not following this.
Totally, and the thing too is, so like for sale signage, which is extremely public, I mean, that's going to be a big one too, but just to know the rule about adjacent to primary identifier. Okay. Moving down here. So now this one is interesting. So now we're looking at not approved on this side versus approved on this side. So this is saying that the website domain name is the primary identifier. So now we're not saying that the name Catherine James Team is, we're saying that the website is. And the reason they're saying that the website is the primary identifier is because the website is taking up more space and is larger than the realtor's name or the realtor's team name. So as far as a personal identifier goes, they're saying that that is the website. So that even means that on any of your signage or marketing that you're doing, if you have a giant website domain name on any of it, the CIR logo has to take up the same amount of size as that website domain name. So you can't think of it as, well, I'm going to make my personal name small, my domain name, which happens to have my other name in it, big, therefore I'm going to get away with it. No, the biggest thing that relates to your personal branding is your personal identifier. And it's also saying that it's not adjacent. So this, and again, especially on for sale signs, I'd be the most careful on this. They're saying that the brokerage logo needs to be adjacent to the primary identifier. So here, you'll see that they've changed it up. And I mean, for this one, obviously, they've made the website a lot smaller. But this one is compliant because the brokerage logo was made bigger. The primary identifier is now the realtor's name. and the brokerage logo is the same size as the primary identifier, and it's adjacent to it.
Now, so we do the shout out on business cards. Steve mentioned the both sides piece.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do that now. One thing that a lot of people have done in the past is they've branded one side of the business card to CIR Realty, and they've put the other side of the business card with their own branding on it. Now you are not allowed to have your own brand on one side of the business card without having CIR's logo of equal or greater size than that. So long are the days of this has the nice CIR logo, and then on the back of it is your team name and your team logo. Anywhere that you have personal branding on a business card, the brokerage logo has to be adjacent to it.
That's right. That's right. And we used to promote that. We used to say, hey,
Yeah.
you know, do this and have your on one side and CR on the other, and you're good. And the reason is, you know, Steve had contacted RECA, and we're very proactive on this stuff. We will contact them, we'll have conversations, and we learn things every day, which makes it tough to keep up. I echo the frustrations of many people that have been battling with this, and this has come at great expense to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. But getting on the phone, one of the reasons they say is that many people are the marketing materials, they're paper clipping or stapling the business card with the brokerage side down, attached to the paper, and then when people pick it up and see it, it's their business card on the other side that's showing off and
Yeah.
has just their own marketing and not the brokerage beside it.
Yeah, thank you. Good call. Okay, moving down. So here is another ad. So this is a big one for teams, and I actually contacted 2 of our teams this morning to start early conversations with them about this. But team advertising, or even individual advertising, you cannot have an ad anywhere without a licensed professional realtor's name on it. So you'll notice that this one has the team name, Catherine James Real Estate Team. And let's say this is Catherine James. Well, Catherine James, and even here, Catherine James Associates, like Catherine might be like, well, my name is right here. That actually doesn't count at all. Catherine James needs to be just her name in and of itself, like it is on the approved one right here. So anybody who is doing just branded advertising right now, just for the team, you guys are going to have to decide, if you're very large teams, whose individual name is going to appear on that. Maybe you're rotating it once a month. You know, if you're a 2 or a 3 person team, it's very easy to just make sure that both of your names or all 3 of your names are on something besides your team name. But that is going to be extremely important moving forward. So you'll see here, she left what she left, but just small here, she wrote Catherine James, and then the brokerage name is similar to the primary identifier, which works over here as well, which would be considered this team name. So this is taking up as much space.
One of the questions online was just if the business card is blank on the other side, you now add the CR logo, and that is not true.
No.
It's only if you have another primary identifier on the back of the card. So if it's blank, it's fine. If you don't have anything, if you just have your slogan, your whatever, but if you have your logo or you have your primary identifier, your name on the other side, then you would need to have the CR logo with it. But blank is fine, or just a generic design or some generic statement or a calendar we've seen or our office address is all fine. Yeah.
This is an easy one. You guys are really good about this, but the licensed professional included an AKA name and not as it appears on their license. So on this one, instead of writing Catherine James, she just wrote Kathy James. Kathy James isn't licensed to trade in real estate. Catherine James is licensed to sell, so just make sure that you have all of those names appropriately. If you do want to go by an AKA name, you just need to make sure that that's registered and approved, and then you are able to go by that name.
Lots of questions coming up about, if we had something approved by CR's marketing team, does it mean that it meets, or do we have to redo it? Let us have a look. Case by case on this. We're learning new stuff each and every day, and so we are going to be looking at that. So go ahead and send it in and have a look.
So we now we're at the business card advertising part. So this is what we spoke about earlier. But here's the example for you. So this isn't allowed because it's the team name on the back. The only way that team name on the back is allowed is if the brokerage logo is equal or greater size. So yes, literally in something like this, people are always like, how are we possibly going to make the logo that big? sorry guys, you just have to make the logo that big. It's not our rule. One of the reasons that we recently decided to allow a black and white version and that beautiful charcoal gray logo version and the horizontal logo was to make it as easy as possible for you to include this, especially for people that just have a name being written out. If you have a name being written out, it's very easy to have the horizontal CIR logo right on top of that. That looks really good. So here we go. So we talked about this one, and here we go again. And you'll see here that this is considered to be adjacent, right? Like this is adjacent, this is adjacent. So I know I've had some questions about, how adjacent does it actually have to be? This would be considered to be, from a visual standpoint, it's obvious that these two are associated with each other.
One of the things to just remember about the beauty of being independent is this is an Alberta-wide change. This has nothing to do with Saskatchewan or British Columbia, and the franchises are unlikely to change their national brand standards or international brand standards to accommodate this. But as being a flexibility of being an independent, we can adapt and say, okay, we want to make this easy for you to have options that look great with your brand. And hence at the AGM, the AGE, we launched the 3 new logo options, the black square, the charcoal, and the horizontal version. So it's something we're trying to do to make sure that we stay nimble and adapt to the markets that you serve.
Perfect. So going on, this is a little bit more about team advertising. This is just an example, because this also is for mortgage professionals as well. So, but you assume that this is real estate because it's the same thing. So this is for team advertising. This is the team name. This is the brokerage name. Not allowed. So a couple things wrong with this. Number one, it's the team name, which is much smaller than the brokerage name. And there isn't and the name of a licensed professional isn't on it, so you change it up. This becomes a lot bigger, and you actually have the name of a licensed professional on there. Okay, here's another very obvious one. Very small, very big, and these two are not adjacent. This one, these are now similar size, and the brokerage name is adjacent. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so does not meet requirement, again, for advertising. The website domain name is the primary identifier and is not adjacent to the brokerage's name. Website domain names can only be the primary identifier if they are the registered brokerage name. That is really important. So that means that your website can never be bigger than the license, than your name or whatever your team name is going to be. That is not allowed. So that would need to be made bigger. So here's an example of how this was rectified. So now we have the brokerage logo, the same size as this. The website domain has gotten a little bit smaller so that it's not going to be the primary identifier. And we have the names of all of the licensed professionals on the team as part of this.
Yeah, the question is it clear that you're trading on behalf of the brokerage?
Yeah.
Or is it questionable that you might have another, you're trading independently of a brokerage entity? That's what they're trying to assess there by reinterpreting the Real Estate Act rules.
Yeah. All right, website advertising. This is a big one on the majority of people's websites right now. It is very common that the brokerage logo is somewhere on the bottom in the footer. So this is not allowed. If you have a website running, you need to work on this. Now, RECA does have a rule that if you are working with a website provider and it's a template solution and all of the templates have the logo in the exact same spot, you can appeal, you can send something in, they'll look at it that way. But in general, like the good news is for all the KV Core websites, the CIR logo is up here. And very obvious. It might not be as big as RECA wants if you're going to have some sort of a background image that has your own logo in it, but because it's a template solution and that is where it is all of the time, that's something that we can get away with. But one thing to note too is that most websites do have this lovely, big, beautiful background image, and you can include some brokerage branding in addition to your own personal branding in that image. And again, as long as they're equal size, that's a really nice way to do that as well. So here's for meets requirements. So you have the name of the team, and you have the name of the brokerage, side by each, adjacent, and taking up the same amount of size. So here is another good example. So this is not allowed because the brokerage name is, again, not clearly indicated, only appears in the footer, and is not attached. So here again, Thomas Elliott Real Estate Team, there has nothing to do with the brokerage on that whatsoever.
And it's important because it's an inner page. It's not just the home page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so brokerage identification is becoming, like, obviously the moral of this story is anytime you're doing anything, like, you need to put the brokerage beside it, right? Like, that's how I would think about it. The second your name or your logo is anywhere from here on out, the brokerage name and the brokerage logo should be beside it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that is all for this one. I want to mention a few things as well while we're chatting, and that is when it comes to your social media, we do have an in-house graphic design team, and as far as your Facebook cover photos go, that type of stuff, all of that RECA is saying should have the brokerage logo on it. So if you have a personal Facebook page, and let's say it's not even a business page, it's a personal page, but once a month you are going to post a listing or you are going to do something real estate related. If you are ever using that page for business ever, or somebody can say that a single one of your posts could be interpreted to be used as a way for you to gain real estate business, that page needs to be branded to CIR. So 2 ways. One, on the left-hand side where your profile info is, you can just say, CIR Realtor. And then in your cover photo, just add a nice CIR logo somewhere, get that branded, or we can create something really, really pretty for you too. Email our design team. We're happy to make something for you. And then you also have a nice image that's a banner that you can use in any of your marketing, but that's super important. For your Instagram posts, again, even if it's a personal page, if you're ever going to do anything that has to do with real estate at all, even on your personal page, it should say CIR Realty or CIR Realty in the write-up, your bio description. And then every single post that you make should be disclosing CIR Realty in the description. And if you're doing any images that have your logo on them, CIR's logo needs to be on those images too. If you just have a photo of a house, like just a house, and that's the only thing in that picture, you don't need to make sure our logo is on it. When you're in your description, you do need to mention like something put CIR Realty in that, but you don't need to put it. But if you're going to have any image with your own branding on it whatsoever, the brokerage logo always has to be on it. And I know that that's tough for social media. I get that. But you do need to have it on. And in some cases, it might just make more sense for you to choose to not put personal branding on some of those images. That way that you don't necessarily need to worry about it.
Yeah, remember that lots of these posts are being seen not on your profile within context. They're being seen on a generic news feed. So if you can't look at a post and easily identify the brokerage that's being traded on behalf of, that's the question. And just a quick note on this, and people are always like, well, why? And it was primarily realtors complaining about other realtors who were the problems here, not necessarily the public complaining. But one of the things to remember is that when that public member does complain because there's an issue with a deposit or things like that happens, they're complaining about something bigger, but they need to know that it's the brokerage holding the trust funds, that it's the brokerage who is licensed here, that it's the brokerage who the complaints come against. And trust me, we deal with these anytime there's a misstep made by one of our realtors, one of our management team is involved, and we got your backs on this, but that's that. So just remember on social media, the posts on a news feed or a sponsored ad or a boosted post can be seen independently of your page. So independently of your cover photo, so on that unique post, what is on there to identify the brokerage?
Yes.
Some other things to think about is your print media. We talked about signage. That's fairly straightforward. Open house signage is obviously applicable as well. Bus benches, things like that, in addition to your print media. What about your farming pieces, your farming postcards? And remember, in our marketing section, you can go through and see all that there. We also have, if you make any kind of independent brochures as well, what about those? So think about your print, think about your signage, think about your website. We talked about that at length. Think about your social media. And the last one that I want you to think about is your email. And this is your email newsletters, email signatures. If you have autoresponders going out from your website.
Email signatures are a big one where a lot of realtors do not put the brokerage name in it.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of you, you might not be sending out a marketing email, but for example, I'm in a golf league, and the organizers and things like that are replying, and their businesses are in their email signatures, which is a great way. They're not soliciting business, but it's just there as part of their normal contact information. So make sure that yours is compliant. It's a great opportunity to do a very awesome co-brand. And again, I can't say enough great things about some of the brands that you guys have brought to us as part of the Showcase Your Excellence campaign. I just think that your unique identifiers, the personality that you bring to a transaction, is the number one thing that a client will look for, and the number one reason why a client chooses you. 96% of the time, your clients choose you because of your unique skill sets and the things that you bring to the table. So not taking advantage of that or portraying that can be something that, well, you want to make sure you take advantage of that. And CIR could not be more open to that. This is obviously a little speed bump in the road for a lot of people with their branding and things like that. So we're working around it. We changed the logos, tried to make it easy for you, and we're doing our best on this. And as we learn more and as RECA adjusts, we're going to just keep navigating this path with you.
Mm-hmm. One area that I want to bring some attention to that is probably the worst culprits right now. And I get it because some of the signage is so big that how big does the brokerage logo have to be? But rural, commercial, and agricultural. So you guys that are making your own, massive signs on the sides of highways, these are a really big problem, and they're so noticeable, and I guarantee that you guys are going to get some complaints on those. So make sure that if you're using that type of stuff, that you're switching that out. I have a trip planned to go to, and this is not because I'm trying to pick on anybody, but as the brokerage, we have to sign off on paperwork literally saying that, yes, I have approved every single one of our realtors' marketing pieces. That's actually like our job. So we have to take that very seriously because when you also join on with the brokerage, you sign off saying that you agree that every single piece of your marketing material is going to be approved by the brokerage, which means you send it into myself or one of our managers. We approve it. If you don't do that and we don't see it, and you have marketing material that is not RECA compliant, RECA also will contact us and say, why is this like this? Have you not seen it? And then we have every right to tell you that you have to take it down. You can't use it anymore because we're going against our jobs by letting you use it. So with that being said, I have a trip planned to go to our sign company, so everybody who uses our sign installations, and even for all of your own custom signs, and I'm going to be going through all of the different signage and taking photos, and anybody who is not in compliance, I'm going to be reaching out to you. Sorry, totally not me, not like I'm not doing this out of the good of my heart or because I think it's fun. I don't. And I'm going to be emailing you saying you can't use this anymore. So just so you know, if you have some stuff that is in circulation, we are going to find out about it. We don't want you getting fined. We don't want to get fined. So just be as cooperative as you can. Be with us over the next couple of months as we try and phase out everything that is not good to go.
That's it. And back on the bright side, just remember, now's an opportunity to think about a few things that you're going to do. And it's a great opportunity to start tightening up and get some of the marketing materials together. Maybe there's something that was sparked here saying, I haven't created that farming postcard yet. Yeah. Now it's time to do that, and now it's time to get out there and especially take advantage of this weather and the fact that people are in a real estate mood, whether improving their own house, whether they're thinking of selling or anything else, and now's the prime opportunity for you to be out there building your market share.
Love it. There you go, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your office manager. They are all completely up to date on all the RECA guidelines. They can help you with any questions that you have. And also go on the virtual office in the What You Need to Know section. You'll be able to reference that PDF I had. If you are going to be using outside graphic designers for anything, please make sure you're sending them that PDF because it's really helpful, along with our logo brand standard guide that is in the marketing section of the virtual office. They can download any of our marketing images and our logos there's a link on the virtual office as well that you can send them where they can download proper files. So just save yourself some time and money by doing it properly in the first place, or get us to do it because you know it's going to be right no matter what. That's that.
Go Raptors.
Go Raptors. Have a great week, everybody.
See you guys next week.